Hi, my name is Miyong. Welcome to the program again. This evening or this afternoon, having interview with one of South Sudanese diaspora. Her name is Eurnice Malath, and we will be talking about the new book she just finished writing, and the book's title is Love and Relationship Guide for the Junubin Girls. Eurnice Malath is from South Sudan. She comes from Lake State, and she will be talking about the relationship between South Sudanese men and women in South Sudan, and we'll be also touching more about the women-men relationship, not only here but also in South Sudan. Eurnice, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
I would like to know more, first before we get into all the topics you have in your book. I want you to explain to our viewers what prompted you to write the book in the first place.
Oh yes, that's a great question. What prompted me to write the book is that we have a lot of factors in our community that inhibit the progression and development of really a good, loving relationship. And these things entail four factors. It relates to money, a professional position, coming from a prominent family, and also the physical appearance of an individual, particularly as South Sudanese girls. So I wanted to discuss these factors because they're interconnected. And when you're aware of your community and the factors that are associated with the development of love and relationship, you can sort of navigate through it and find what you really seek, which is a person who is committed to you, who loves you unconditionally, and wants what's best for you. So that's why I decided to write this book.
Speaking of why you want to write the book, I cannot forget to talk about your profession. And it has to do with why you write about this relationship. First of all, can you explain to the viewers where you went to school and what did you study, and what is related to, and why is it related to the book you have written already?
Yes, I graduated in 2007 from Langston University with the Bachelor's degree of Science in Nursing, and I'm about to graduate in a few months with a Master's degree in Nursing from Nebraska Wesleyan University here in Nebraska. So when I was doing my undergrad, I had quite a few professors who influenced me greatly and told me that once you get an education, make sure you use it to benefit your community. And I took that information and I applied it and decided to focus on a lot of issues that we're dealing with that are related to physical factors, since I'm knowledgeable when it comes to science. So I tried to apply a lot of that into the book.
Now, for us to talk about the book, first of all, I want to talk about the women, the girls in diaspora here, South Sudanese girls. Each and every one of us knows about what is happening here in the West. The culture is so different. Our parents who are here with us know little about the American culture, and from there the whole house begin to grow apart, especially with the female. Now, can you tell us, as a girl yourself who have partly grew up here in United States, what were the hardest part of your being here as a South Sudanese young woman and away from your parents or from your country?
Well, when I left Sudan, I was about 4 years old. And I grew up mostly in Kenya, in different parts of it. And when I came to America, it was in 1995. And for me, it was a cultural shock. First of all, I had never seen such a vast array of kawajas, you know? That was my initial shock. Secondly, the language barrier. Though I was fluent in English, I still felt sort of inferior because I had such a thick African accent and stuff, you know? So that was a challenge I had. And I remember, you know, my first initial time when a kawaja touched me, I got scared. I don't know why, but I just felt like I was going to get swallowed, you know? And I mean, these are things that were culturally shocking to me, you know what I mean? And seeing them kissing and things like that, showing affection in public setting, I mean, you don't see that in Africa, you know? So those were things that were culturally shocking. But also for my mom, you know, since she's the one who raised me, it was very hard for her because before we came to America, she had a sister who moved to Canada. And she told her sister, you know, I don't want to take Eurnice to America because I'm scared that she's going to get corrupted and she will not develop a good life, you know, and she'll get used to the gang life, or, you know, she had all these negative perceptions. So I promised my mom, I told her, Mom, if I come to America, I'm going to promise you that I'm going to work hard, I'm going to finish my education, I'm going to take care of you. So she believed me, and then she brought me to America. But still, our relationship had its ups and downs, you know, because I wanted that freedom that I saw some of my friends having. And my mom wanted a strict African bringing whereby you go to school, then come right back home. No extracurricular activities, you know. And I was like, come on, that is too strict. I can't do that, you know. So there were those clashes that developed.
We will get back to that, but I want to go straight right on your book, and that's one of the chapters that I want you to explain more to us. The chapter 2 that was talking about categorical perception of South Sudanese girls, or Junubin girls, as you mentioned it. Can you explain and elaborate that? What's that category? How categorical are these chapters talking about?
Okay, yeah. The chapter is chapter 2 that focuses on the categorical perceptions of Junubin girls. And it just came to mind whereby there's such a great level of fragmentation and categorization of us Junubin girls. We're either viewed as the village girl, the city girl, the educated girl, or the Western girl. And the village girl is somebody who lives in the village setting, and her parents are dominant in her life, and she's taught from a young age that she should pursue marriage, she should be a domesticated person. So the attainment of education is not ingrained in her, and the parents do not really encourage her to pursue an education. It's more of be the perfect wife, you know, give birth to a first son kind of a thing, you know. Now when we look at the city girl, the city girls are perceived as gold diggers, you know. They're those who go after the wealthy government officials and stuff. And these are Junubin girls we're talking about. Now the educated girl is the girl who has an education, has a degree. But then in the process of attaining her degree, she has slept with her professors to achieve that degree. So she is not necessarily intelligent, but she earned it by using her sexual powers. Now the Western girl is considered the more club-oriented, the more sexually promiscuous girl, who has children with multiple South Sudanese men here in America. So she has no level of control. And these categorizations tend to be very negative perceptions of us Junubin girls.
When you talk about these 4 categories of the perception of the South Sudanese girls, you did explain how people perceive them, but now tell us, who are these women actually?
That is a really good question. Who are these women? These women could be your sister, you know, could be your nieces, you know, it could be me, you know, it could be any Junubin girl who is in South Sudan, because we're all being categorized. And even though I'm sitting here with you, I'm already being judged by some viewers, you know, and be categorized, you know, oh, maybe she's trying to sound like a Kawaja, you know, she's too westernized. Look at her hair. Look at the way she sits. These are all categorical perceptions that people have of us without really necessarily knowing who we are internally. And the categorizations tend to be negative.
Now, let's talk about the Western girls or westernized girls. You did say that if these girls are kind of club girls, these are girls who played and all these things. Now let's talk about educated girls as well. These two seem to intertwine in some way. But now, is that true that at some point, not all of them, but at some events, it happened that yes, you can get a better degree, you can get an A, you can get some certain score in class. But there are some occasions that what you just said is very, very true. How can you differentiate that? How would you say that, okay, this is a really smart woman who actually worked and deserved to get an A? But there are some who actually use the beauty, they're being females. How can we categorize? I mean, how can we really say that this is definitely wrong and this is definitely right?
It comes down to knowing the individual and not making judgments, because not all of us are sexually promiscuous. Not all of us are club-oriented individuals, you know? So it really comes down to knowing the person for who they are and not judging all Junubin girls as being inferior in any way.
Now, when we talk about South Sudanese women here in America, including yourself, and you said earlier that when you first came here, you had even problem getting in contact with white men and white women, or white people in general. But you did mention something about having your mother giving you somehow curfew times, and you were saying, oh, this is too much, I gotta have life, I gotta do this. But when you come from home, when you come from Africa, you were that young girl, very respectful to your parents. Now tell me, at what point when you came to realize, you know what, I have some right and I need to use this right now. Tell me, when did you get to that point to say no to your parents?
You know, that's a really good question. To tell you the truth, it took me a number of years. It was only after, I would say maybe in the past maybe 6 years or so, that I really discovered my voice, you know. And our parents tend to have such a big, great influence in our lives that to develop your own identity sometimes is very hard, you know, because it's so intertwined with that of our parents. So it took me about 7 years or so, 7 years ago, to really be firm in my belief and stuff, you know. And I think I cannot specifically point out what occurred, but it was just a slow transition, you know. I think maybe having a job, being independent, you know, taking care of my family played a big role in it. And also the work that I do, I have to supervise people. So I knew that I was capable of being effective in what I did in my professional world. Why couldn't my mom trust me to be effective in my own home too, you know? So
let's, I don't want to, you know, segue to another topic. Let me finish this topic now. I wanted to give you an example. The Sudanese girls here in North America versus the young men or South Sudanese men in North America. Now, there have been many occasions where I wouldn't say it's the first generation will come here, but
sure.
Now give me an example of a situation here in in America, where, because that we have girls who have been pregnant at a younger age, we have girls who have run away from their homes, we have girls who decide to abandon their parents and start working and completely, even so at some point move away and do something else. This is not good. You are educated women. You are educated, American educated women who understand both the culture from our country and this culture. Now, there are some people who will be watching. This girl is from here. All she knows is American culture, and she will always be thinking that what she's doing is right. What can you tell her through your book of her changing to do the right thing?
Yes. To begin with, I definitely believe in women empowerment, because we as women, we understand our needs better than a man could, you know. And in order for a woman to progress, you know, she needs to surround herself with women who are supportive. And as South Sudanese women, we're so fragmented that we do not support each other sometimes, you know. But I would call upon our female leaders, both in South Sudan and here, please reach out to the young girls, because that's not occurring, you know. Just as our male counterparts tend to segregate themselves from the young men, the same is applicable in situations whereby it relates to women. So as people who, I know some girls might consider me a role model, that is great and all, but I am also somebody that they can reach out to and communicate with, you know. I don't create any form of barrier. So having those role models that they can see that, okay, if she can get a university degree and get her master's or a PhD and stuff, I can do it too, because I can touch her, I can talk to her, I can call her, In addition to that, I think it is really important for South Sudanese girls, not only here in America or the West, but also those in South Sudan. I encourage you to please listen to your parents, listen to your mothers. There's nobody in this world who's going to want what's best for you apart from your own mother, If you're searching for comfort, let's say, money and things of that nature, you can obtain that yourself. It takes many years. But in doing so, you'll feel better about yourself. And in your dying bed, you'll state to yourself, I lived my life to the fullest, And the success that I attained was through my own effort. Nobody can take credit for it. And I think that's such a beautiful thing.
Now, I want you to also to touch about, when we speak about these girls or women, we tend to talk about the younger one, the one who were either born here or came at a younger age. In Omar itself, there was a number of young girls who have killed themselves. It happened recently, not too long ago.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, you are a nurse. You are a woman. You grew up here as well. So I believe you not only have an experience, but you have the expertise of understanding exactly what went wrong to these women who have killed themselves. Now, can you tell us, through your experience and expertise you have as a nurse, what to me these women kill themselves because it's miscommunication at some point, somewhere. It could be an abuse, but tell us what actually went wrong that led to the killing of these young girls.
Like you mentioned, communication is a big factor. There's that difference in culture. The parents believe in the strict Sudanese culture, while the Sudanese girl who was born here believes mostly in the American culture and maybe blending a little bit of the South Sudanese culture. So there's that friction that occurs that nobody's willing to compromise, Nobody's willing to understand each other, because I am right and you're wrong and I am right is being pointed back and forth. And then when you go ahead and bring Americans to come and solve our problems, it becomes a situation that is heavily expounded, upon. So in order to solve this problem, our community needs to get together, And we really need to communicate with these young girls, because our elders are not communicating with us, nor are our parents. And also we are to blame for it too, because there is a solution to this problem. It can be solved, but the biggest issue is lack of communication and the cultural barriers that are in play.
I also want you to touch on mentors programs. A woman like you have went to college, has graduated for your first degree, and now you're going, very soon you will be graduating for your master. You have done a lot. You are already a role model. Who was your role model that made you do all the things that you are doing?
I was very fortunate to have my mother. She graduated from Barton University with a degree in agriculture in Kenya. And having her in the household, she really influenced me greatly, because she was and continues to be my intellectual companion in many ways. And she's so strong-minded and believes a woman can achieve as much or more than a man, and not to make any comparison at all to a man, but to be an individual in your own right. So her influence me from a very young age helped greatly. And then when I went to college, that's when I met my college professors. Dr. Claw from Liberia, Dr. Koenig from here in the US. So all these highly intelligent people saying, hey, my daughter, my son, how did you do in school? Just relating to me on a human level really made me believe I could achieve anything, And I really owe them everything that I have and have attained, you know. So they were my role models and stuff, and continue to be.
Now, since you have been you are one of the advocates on women or young girls to succeed. Do you have girls at a younger age who you are mentoring? Do you have girls that come to look upon what you're doing, or are you reaching out because you seem to have an extensive knowledge of a knowledge that can make someone succeed? Are you reaching out to them, as you say?
Oh yes, of course, definitely. That is very important for me to reach out. And one of the ways I've reached out is by writing this book, because I know, you know, we're all over the world in Australia and stuff. And for people to be able to connect through this book is really important because it addresses issues that no American or no European can understand, but another South Sudanese sister can't understand. And I've really worked a lot with community members here in America ever since I won Miss South Sudan. And even prior to that, after doing my undergraduate and graduating, I started this organization called the South Sudanese Youth Conference. And we started talking about issues that are impacting the youth here in America, from gang conflicts, mental health problems, post-traumatic stress disorder, because these are we just came from war, so these are things that are really affecting our parents, and we have a lot of mental issues. So we try to address those things in the conference, and trying to get women to be part of it and stuff, and having that dialogue initiated.
Now, I want also to touch base on the women in Africa, or especially in South Sudan. Average women or average girls, let's say women, average women in South Sudan, I would say they have at least high school education, and with some numbers that are highly educated. Of course, we do have those, but with the new nation we need all educated individuals we can get in South Sudan. You have been working as a nurse, you are going to school to get your master's. That means you will add that to intellectual worlds in America. But we have a country that needs each and every profession we have, especially nursing. Why are you not coming to South Sudan, or are you planning to come and help?
Oh yeah, it's definitely mandatory to go back and help. I've never considered America to be my home. You know, nor will I ever consider it to be my home. You know, we are children of South Sudan until the day we leave this earth. So I do plan on going, hopefully in the next 5 years or so, to set root there. It's only a matter of time that I'll go ahead and you know, you address a lot of the health issues that we have in South Sudan, and these are things that nurses can really help in decreasing the health disparities. And it's not only the doctors. I know in Africa they tend to have such a negative perception of nurses, you know. You only do the dirty work, you know, you clean poop and stuff, you know. You bathe patients, that's all you know. But they don't realize, you know, nurses here, we really go to the university. We go for 4 years and we have to study biology. We have to study chemistry, you know. We have to study all these anatomy and physiology. We have to know how the body functions. So it is not a matter of wiping somebody's bottom. Not at all. You have to know different drugs and how they interact within the body. How to revive somebody if they were to, you know, how to die or something like that, in the process of dying. So it's a very complicated process. It's not simple.
Now, as we are wrapping up our program, let's go back to the skin bleaching part of it, because it seemed to have a lot of controversies on this topic. There are people who think that it's good, we should be doing it, and they actually blame on men, that men tend, or young guys tend to you know, prey on the one that are light skins. But now you did explain the pros and cons of it. But for someone who has already done that and realized that she has made mistakes, but she's not in good terms with her own parents, or if she's married, she's not in good terms with her own husband, how can you bring this, the first and the second generation, because the second generation who were born in 1995, 94 now become men and they wanted to get married too. Every one of them do have a girlfriend here that is South Sudanese. They tend to do that. But once they come to decide to get married, I see them go all the way, ocean away from here. What is the problems?
It all comes down to the categorization of us girls, South Sudanese girls in the West, as being, individualistic and being too opinionated, and not being subservient to our husbands, So there are all these perceptions that if a Junubin man was to marry us, we would suppress him, we would inhibit his progression, and we would be have affairs and things like that. But then they view those Junubin girls in South Sudan as being pure, as being marriage material, while we are not. We're already considered ruined material, because they used us. Now they can dispose us and then go and find people who are more eligible. So
let me speak for them since they are not here. I hope they are watching. You say that people perceive South Sudanese women or the South Sudanese diaspora girls and women in 4 categories, as you mentioned them: educated one, westernized one, village, and what's the other one? A city one. Yeah. But who actually have this perception? Tell me.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that we live in a patriarchal society, Even though we're far away from South Sudan, our patriarchal society is very dominant, and this focuses on South Sudanese men, But also
the men here in diaspora, or the men in South Sudan?
It is actually both. Both the men here and both the men in South Sudan. As a matter of fact, there's this journalist, I'm not going to mention names, 2 of them actually, that I know. And they mentioned that, they're going to write articles about us, the Western girls. Now take heart that they've never been to the West. They don't know what the life is here like.
Did they say they write article? That could be a good article.
No, it was gonna be a negative article about us Western girls, that we're club oriented. Our parents are unable to control us. This is based on hearing things from others, So without really being here and without really getting in contact with us, So you see, if journalists like you who have a lot of power, so if those 2 guys who are very well known went ahead and wrote that article, a lot of people would read it, and these perceptions will continue permeating throughout our community.
I wanted to hear from you, okay? We have spoken about these kind of characters of women in diaspora. Now, for someone who is watching now, tell him or her exactly the right woman that is being perceived wrong.
Well, I would not say that. I'll begin by saying that not all of us are perfect. There are Junubin girls here who are going astray from our culture. But we should not give up on them, because they have potential to succeed in whatever they decide to do. And so our Junubin men who are going astray here in America too as well have the potential to succeed. So to answer your question it is really a matter of knowing the individual for who they are, and not judging, because when you judge without having initial contact, or only having a contact with a few and then making assumptions, that inhibits your ability to really develop friendship with a lot of people and gain knowledge as well, because you have to be neutral in things. You cannot base your decisions on emotions or hearsay. Do your own personal investigation.
Now, let's talk about another very controversial topic. Everyone will have his or her own way of seeing it. Let's talk about skin bleaching. Skin bleaching has been skyrocketing into the 21st century. Some know the the efficacy of the whole things, but the others have no idea. As a woman, tell me of your own liking or disliking of skin bleaching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we cover skin bleaching in the book in great detail. Personally speaking, I do not agree with skin bleaching. You know, I think that one should accept themselves for who they were born. You know, your color is very beautiful. As South Sudanese, we have such a beautiful skin tone. Mr. Miyong, your skin is beautiful. You know, it makes you look very handsome. You know, so why would we want to change our skin tone? And as South Sudanese, our skin are very soft. We don't even need to apply lotion. You know, now when we come to the aspect of skin bleaching, we have to go to the anatomy of the skin. The skin is a paper thin. It is this thin in itself, but its function is immense. It is the biggest organ in the human body. It is bigger than our brain, our hearts, or our lungs. And the skin has three components. There's the epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. Now, all these three functions have specific factors that they control within our body. And when you go ahead and bleach your skin, you're applying chemicals that are destroying the integrity of the skin. Now, the skin itself is made of cells. When you go ahead and apply the chemicals, you're burning your cells and you're burning your skin. You're burning your skin in order to change the color of your skin. In that process, you're thinning your skin. So when you develop wounds, it takes the wounds longer to heal, because now the integrity of the skin has been changed. When you bleach your skin begins to smell, because the interaction of the chemicals and the sweat and the cells on your skin interact and create a bad odor. When you bleach your skin will never change back to its original color, because, for example, your skin right here in your arm is different from the skin surface on your knuckles. So our knuckles tend to have a harder skin surface than the rest of our skin. And our lips too have a different skin consistency. So when you bleach, you tend to see women who have bleached with darker knuckles and then the rest is light. That's because our skin surfaces are not all the same. So all these things take place and stuff, you know. You have the bad odor, the thinning of the skin, the irreversibility of the skin changing back to its original color, and other things.
Now, what caused all this? What makes women or young girls to bleach themselves?
I think the number one thing is they want to attract Junubin men, you know? Let us be fair. Yeah, they want to be viewed as the most beautiful, it's all about having that edge over another woman, you know? I'm the most appealing, you know? I look the most attractive. But also, we have to go to our culture. We're not yet fully united with our culture since we're so dispersed throughout. So that has caused an integration of other cultures influencing us, you know. For example, we have girls who came from Egypt. And I think that's one thing I've realized. Sudanese who came from Egypt to America tend to bleach their skin a lot more than those who came from Kenya, for example. They tend to bleach. And I think the imagery that they watched in Egypt influenced them, because they see all this Egyptian females with light skin tone and really looking beautiful on TV. So they're like, well, we need to look like them, you know? And I remember my mom, she lived in Egypt for a little bit in the 70s and stuff. And she talked about how the Egyptians would call her names and stuff, you know, how she's an ugly black person and stuff. And I think that's something that really influenced the girls who came here.
Now, speaking of certain Sunnis coming from Egypt and being influenced by the complexions of Egyptian women, you know, you elaborate very well on the efficacy of skin bleaching, the thing that you will actually face once you go through that. But you have failed to tell me, and I want you to tell me again, the South Sudanese men in North America here, as I was telling you earlier, they do have girlfriends from you as well. It's easy to have a girlfriend, but when they come to make that gigantic decision to get married, they go to South Sudan and get that dark woman. And you say that the reason for women or for girls to change their skin is because of the guys. Why would you not taking that as a lesson?
Who's not taking that as a lesson?
The one that's being used as a girlfriend, and when it's time to
get married.
To get married, or the time to propose, then they go ahead and propose someone else. So why would you not take that and then like, okay, I don't want to waste my time and money, and also shorten my life for bleaching my skin. Why would you keep doing that if you know that these men, they don't really mean to like the light skins?
There's that aspect of potential, There's the potential that the person will accept me for who I am, There's because one thing is a lot of South Sudanese girls suffer from low self-esteem, and I experience low self-esteem as well. So they're compensating it by trying to look externally attractive because they don't view their skin as being attractive, So that's one thing. So in a way, it is more or less trying to fulfilling a void in their lives. And once they feel like they have gained a level of confidence, they believe that then the man will come along,
Now, if I call you're from Lake State, right?
Yeah.
And I've been to Lake State many times. If I just tap on one of the girls in Lake State today and sit by you, I'm very sure you will look completely different from her. And you are talking about skin bleaching is wrong. I'm not telling you have bleached yourself, but are you the same person who came from Lake State at 4 years old, the same skin, the same color, or you had actually went through that and then you came to realize in the end of the day?
That is a good question. Actually, my parents are from two different tribes. My mom is from Eastern Equatoria, from the Madi tribe, and then my dad is from Lake State. So my mom tends to fall in, she's not light-skinned, but, I just came out a little different. But I have not really desired to bleach my skin. That is nothing that came to my mind at all. I love my skin. I would never change it for anything. Either a man is to accept it or not accept it. It is the least of my concern, And yeah.
Now, okay, because when we talk about this, we are trying to make our viewers to choose what they wanted to do. You are a nurse yourself. You have understand exactly the pros and cons of bleaching yourself as a person. And talking about keeping your skins is perfect things to do. But let's not forget about our hair as well. You have these Western hairs, and you abandon the looking of what we call a typical South Sudanese woman, tall like you, smiles as great. What is wrong with your hair? Why are you not using that? And why would you be telling someone? They would be saying that you are being hypocrite. Why would you be telling them that don't bleach yourself, and you are here on TV having this long hair, trying to look like a kawaja, or you call it a white person, and yet you are contradicting yourself. Now explain that more.
Well, I don't consider it a contradiction because a number of years ago, I used to have dreadlocks, and they were pretty, twist and stuff like that. And underneath my wig, I have short hair, and sometimes I wear it, and sometimes I wear this wig. So it is how I feel, like the mood that I'm in is what is displayed. But this is something that is temporary, This is something that is not health hazard. Skin bleaching is hazardous to the health, and if my hair was hazardous to my health, I would not use it. It's just like a smoker, smoking and stuff. If it's going to cause lung cancer, why are you going to smoke? you know. So that is the difference.
But I understand it's not a health hazard, as you said. But at the same time, we decide to talk about this on national TV. If not everyone, but a lot of people who are having television set in their houses in South Sudan as well as in diaspora will be watching your interview. And here you come to tell us this good thing, because you are a nurse. What you explained is making me make sure that I'm making sure myself that my daughter will not go through this unless she refuses. But I'm sure that the explanation you gave me has completely convinced me, apart from me saying that I don't want you to look light. But now I have more reason to even refuse the whole thing. But knowing that you will talk to your countrymen and women, not live, but nationally on TV, why not dress in a way that they want to see a normal, typical South Sudanese?
Now, I'll propose the question back to you. Who is a normal South Sudanese?
To me, a normal South Sudanese, or quote-unquote Africans, is a person like you, tend to have dark skins or dark complexions, but of course the same complexion as you have, but has this hair dressing that is not as long as hair, but in a certain way that, you know, sometime before you even say where you come from, we can say you're from Africa for one reason: your skin, your hair, and your accent in the end, if you do have that accent. But other than that, there's no way for me to know if we are on radio now. Your accent is so American. Maybe mine is still South Sudanese, but your accent is so American that nobody would know if you were to be speaking on radio right now. But since we are on television, they will be able to see you. The first thought that will come in their mind is that, she might be from Kenya. No, might be from western part of Africa. Oh, she's an American, African American. What I'm saying is, I'm not trying to let you go and wear yourself as typical South Sudan, but I'm talking about when it's day to talk and convince South Sudan as you did, as you have earlier. I expect you to look more South Sudanese physically.
So let's go back to the original South Sudanese. What does the original South Sudanese look like? How come we don't have marks on our faces? How come we're not? My breasts are not showing, or your chest is not showing. You know what I mean? Those were our true African way of dressing. So to me, I don't consider myself a hypocrite. Nor do I consider you a hypocrite. Nor do I consider the audiences, you guys, a hypocrite either. Because if you're going to say I'm a hypocrite, then all of us are hypocrites, because you're dressing in a suit, What happened to the skin of the cow, that you'd be draping over yourself,
but the thing is, you can hold it. The thing is, when you change the culture as you are, if it's one because you stick to your own culture, you will be just, not only putting what you have, you could be completely looking like a club girl, right? But we are in 21st century. Even at home where we are now, there are some changes. People begin to realize that, we can live better than this. So anything that is not as it is, that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about the things that, you cannot change your names, right? Because you have found a way to live, right? But you can change your accent for the person to listen to you, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about completely abandoned, but I'm talking about abandon the things that are
westernized.
That are as it is to our health. But intertwine